So here we go with the hatch build for the cheap camper trailer. If you haven't seen the other build videos, I'll leave a link below with a playlist. So the hatch build on these trailers seems to be a part that a lot of people stress about. I think it's a bit easier on this trailer since it doesn't have a curve like most of them, but I was still a little bit worried about it being strong and fitting well. So I had one last thing to finish up on the body before I started with the hatch build, and that's to fill the gaps on the outside corners of the body due to the body being half an inch wider than the plywood that I was using to skin the roof. I bought some half-inch quarter round and glued it into those edges, into the gaps, clamped it down with a bunch of pieces of tape, let it dry, and then I was able to come back for a final pass with a router to smooth it out. And now we have a nice 45-degree edge on the whole trailer with no filler needed. So from there we can move on to the hatch build. I ordered an aluminum hurricane hinge from Amazon because it seems like that's what everybody uses for this, but I still don't really trust it to be waterproof because of the open ends, and I cut it exactly to the width of the trailer, but it seems like after I did that I noticed that some people are cutting it a little bit wider than the trailer. Don't know if I would have done that if I had known, but it is what it is now. I have some ideas to seal it up later, which I'll try, but right now my strategy is just to avoid rain at all costs. I think there's probably a better solution for a waterproof hinge than these hurricane hinges, but if any of you guys have any ideas on how that could be done, I'd love to hear your thoughts. I did waste a bit of time trying to figure out how to mount this hinge before I realized that I just needed to build the roof back a little bit further to mount the hinge on the downslope rather than trying to mount the hinge on the flat top part of the roof. So I just built another little section of roof with some 1x2, a piece of quarter round for the transition from the top to the back, way too much glue, and a piece of ply on the top. Once that was finished, I was able to finish up with a router on the corners, and we were ready to start the hatch build. So I've never built a rear hatch like this before, and the thing that I'm most worried about is like end fitment. We are going to have, for the exterior ceiling, it's going to be poor man's fiberglass. So that's just canvas stretched across the outside and then painted a bunch of times to make it waterproof. That is going to add some unknown thickness at all of the edges. And then we're probably going to add an aluminum angle piece to the inside here to trim it out so that you don't see the seam on the canvas. So that's going to push this door out from here a bit, and I don't want to have the hinge binding up, so we have to do something to make sure that hinge is in an appropriate location so that when we add all the stuff to the seams, to the edges, the door is not going to bind. Also don't want the door to hit the aluminum trim as it comes in, so we'll need to, while we're building the door, I'm going to space it out with paint sticks away from the sides of the trailer walls. We'll space it out like this with paint sticks, and then we'll build the structure inside that, so that'll give us this thickness of wiggle room basically, so that's like probably 1/8 of an inch about. And then because of that thickness here pushing the door away, we're going to have to do something with the hinge. So we're going to have to space the hinge off of this mounting spot right here. So I made this piece, which is slightly thinner than a paint stick, and it's going to go up here to space the hinge off of the trailer. Hopefully it'll make up for the thickness that we're adding at the ceiling points. From there we can start actually building the frame of the door. I built it in the same manner that I built the roof structure in, just using 2x2s and just kind of putting them wherever I thought they were needed. I didn't really have a plan, just kind of going with what looked good. And then once the bottom half was completed, I installed the hinge on the top. I had to notch out the ends of the hinge to clear the wall where it folds down. But once that was done, I was able to just start building that top half of the hatch framing into the hinge, so that I knew that that framing was going to line up with the hinge just right. With the main structure complete, I thought it would be a good idea at this point to add some support to the angled portion since that's going to be taking a lot of the load when you're lifting the door. I found an old steel shelf out back, and I pulled some of the steel supports off of that, and I just clamped them into the structure that I had built in a way that I thought would be the least obtrusive but still provide a good amount of strength. From there I just marked them, cut them, drilled them, painted them, and installed them with 6 like 1.25" wood screws each. And I think in the end it looked pretty cool. Hope it's strong enough. So it was at this point I realized I made a decent mistake, which was I forgot to account for the thickness of the flooring that's going to be added in later. So I had the hatch framing built just right on the subfloor essentially, but I didn't account for the flooring that I was going to put in. So I had to remove that frame and then rip a piece off the bottom of the frame to account for the thickness of the flooring. So while it was out, I rounded over the corners just to make sure it looks good. And then I just installed a scrap piece of flooring at the end there and then put the frame back in on top of that scrap piece of flooring. And as you can see, it's a nice tight fit after that correction. So at that point I measured and cut the exterior skins, and then I took the frame back out again to install them onto the frame. So I actually got pretty lucky with this, with the exterior skins. Since the hatch is 4 feet exactly from top to bottom, I could cut those sheets out of the sheet of plywood sideways, and I could have it as wide as I wanted to. So I cut it a bit wider than the actual trailer body, so that when I put the hatch back into the trailer, I can use the router to trim it perfectly flush to the trailer, and we wouldn't have to deal with that issue that we dealt with on the roof, where the exterior skins were not as wide as the body. So in this case, the hatch skins started out wider than the body, and then I would use a router to trim them exactly to the body, so no filler pieces are needed. So with the hatch flipped over, I quickly threw in some insulation and wiring for the hatch light, which I now regret choosing that location. I tried to put it where it wouldn't be in my eyes, but it would also light up the galley area. But in the end, it turned up to be the exact location of my forehead when I'm standing in the galley. So next time I might modify it still and just push it back so that when the hatch is open, it's up behind your head and it kind of just lights up that standing area. And then I would add more lighting inside the trailer for the work area. All right, so we got the structure built, pulled it out, glued the skins on outside, left the overhang because that's where we're going to put the ceiling, the weather strip, and then the same 1.5" insulation inside. And we have these supports sticking out, so I can't just skin it. They're in the way a little bit, and we were going to do that same wood that we did in the ceiling and the front wall, but it's really heavy, so it would make the door pretty heavy to lift. So wife said, let's do beadboard, just like we did on the left and right walls inside. So I cut out the rough shape, but it has to be notched for the supports. So you can see right there I did one cut already, but all I did was really just line the sheet up as best I could against the supports there, and then use a square on both sides, one on that side, one on that side to draw the lines that I need to stay between, and then just kind of eyeball measured from the corner in here how far out I need that cut, and I marked it. And I measured these support thickness, and it's actually slightly thinner than the table saw blade, so it's basically perfect. So I'll just set up the fence roughly so the table saw blade gets right between the lines I drew, and then run it until we get to that point, and then the whole thing should just slide into the supports and fit perfectly, and then we can glue and nail it in. Alright, so doors back on. We did the insulation, wiring, the beadboard on the inside. I'm glad we did the beadboard because it's really heavy. It's way heavier than I was expecting it to be. I think if we had done the other wood like we did in the rest of the trailer, this would be too heavy to lift. It's already really heavy, so I might have to do gas struts, even though I didn't want to do gas struts because of the cost. But the last few things we have to do are trim off the edges here, and then I have to make a spacer piece between the door and the hinge because I didn't realize there was a step up there, and I made that little spacer on the trailer itself. But that's alright, I would have had to make the filler piece either way. So that's about a 1/2 inch gap. So I just made that spacer up real quick and moved on to mounting the hinge to the door. So I measured for a screw every 6 inches, I think, and marked the holes with a snap punch. Snap punches are really cool. They make a little divot right where you want your hole so that when you put your drill bit on there, it doesn't walk around, it just stays in that little divot, and you don't have to worry about missing exactly where you want to be. I use the drill press to actually make the holes, and then a little hand deburring tool to clean them up. And then once the hinge was back in, I sanded down the transition between the two exterior sheets to make like a nice little smooth round over at that transition. And at that point is ready for basically that final test fit where I can now open it for the first time and see how it works. So other than it actually being a lot heavier than I expected it to be, it looks great and it operates nice and smooth. When you close it, it gives a nice like satisfying thud, like it actually like closes in really nice, and it matches. I think it's because it's so perfect with the height of the floor with how it was built. So the most of the weight of the hatch is actually on the floor and not on the hinge when the hatch is closed. So like I mentioned earlier, the things I would watch out for are probably the placement of the galley lights. Think through that a little bit, and then watch if your hurricane hinge has a step in it. Pay attention to that when you're setting your gaps, and then make sure you're thinking about your gaps all the way around the hatch, at the top, at the sides. Like at the sides, we did it with the paint sticks. At the bottom, I had to go back and adjust it, but I did it with the flooring. And then just pay attention to your gap for your weather strip. If you're interested in a list of materials, I did make a spreadsheet that shows where I got everything. I'll be doing another video soon on the total cost of the build, but you can check out that spreadsheet. I'll leave the link. Also, check out my Instagram. Sometimes I post stuff, sometimes I don't. It is what it is. Thanks for watching. Next episode should be finishing the exterior with canvas and glue, aka poor man's fiberglass.